Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump just pulled off an absolutely massive presidential power play, one that not only strengthens our national security, but also delivers a long overdue dose of revenge. You see, just yesterday afternoon, President Trump officially rescinded the security clearances of over 15 high-profile progressive figures. And we're not talking about a bunch of no-name staffers that nobody's ever heard of. No, we're talking about some big names like Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, Liz Cheney, and yes, even Joe Biden. And check this out, Joe Biden's entire family. Take a look at this.
When it comes to the Bidens, given the family's long history of influence peddling and dealings with shady people overseas, I think cutting them off from national security information is frankly a pretty good idea. That's number one. Number two, some of these people and their affiliates and the people they're associated with at the upper reaches of the Democratic Party have proven time and again that they are willing to abuse their adjacency to national security information for political purposes. We all remember the 51 intelligence people who signed the Hunter Biden laptop letter, for instance. And so I think what Donald Trump is doing is sending a strong message. No longer are people like this who float in and out of government going to be able to abuse their national security access for political purposes. And let me just tell you something. What goes around comes around, because as David just said, they cut off Donald Trump in 2021. You want to play the game? Now you got to play it when you're on the other side of the field.
Is there a logical end to the tit for political tat? Is this where it ends?
Look, it'll come to an end when Democrats who go in and out of government stop abusing their access to and adjacency to national security information for political purposes. I mean, there is no doubt that the top reaches of the Democratic Party have used their adjacency and access to this information, and then the fact that people know they have that access, they use that as credibility to then make political arguments against people they don't like, such as Donald Trump. They use that credibility to try to get the news media to report things that they say, such as the Hunter Biden laptop letter. There is a rational basis, Elliot, for doing this, and it's to put a stop to people using this kind of imprimatur for political reasons. So it'll come to an end when people stop abusing this kind of access. And one more issue, I just think far too many people in Washington have this kind of clearance anyway. And many people in both parties have acknowledged there's too many people with security clearances. Maybe this will start a conversation about ratcheting down the number of people who have access to this kind of information.
So folks, there you have it. And by the way, everything he just said is 100% true. As we've all seen, the Trump administration has been dealing with a never-ending series of leaks, activist bureaucrats who get their hands on sensitive information and rush to leak it to the progressive media in an attempt to sabotage President Trump's America First agenda. So this wave of security clearance revocations, you just know this is the beginning of a broader purge. What we're witnessing right now is President Trump finally saying enough is enough. No more access for the people who've repeatedly proven that they can't be trusted with our nation's top-level secrets. No more letting political enemies peek behind the curtains just so they can go running to the New York Times or MSNBC. Those days are over. But you know what? Here's the most important part about all of this. This isn't only about revenge. Really, it's about national security. Because let's be honest, if you're Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris or Hunter Laptop Biden, your idea of handling classified information is about as secure as a gas station bathroom. All of these people who have repeatedly and shamelessly abused their access to sensitive intelligence information should really never have had their security clearances in the first place, and now they finally don't. And so right now, because of these security clearance revocations, you just know the progressive left is having an absolute meltdown. But you know what? Let me remind you all of something. President Trump has the full, undeniable constitutional authority to revoke security clearances as he sees fit. And you know what? More importantly, Joe Biden set the precedent for all of this back in 2021 when he himself revoked President Trump's security clearance. So what that means is that all of the whining and screaming you hear coming from the progressive left right now, yeah, they couldn't be more hypocritical. Because as you all might remember, when Joe Biden revoked Trump's security clearance, they were dead silent, not a single peep. But now that Trump is returning the favor, oh, suddenly it's a threat to democracy. Give me a break. Let's be honest here for a moment. At this point, all of the outrage coming from the progressive left is nothing more than impotent, self-serving theatrics coming from people whose political relevance is fading fast. They know that day by day, they are losing control of the country, which is exactly why all of this is so important. By stopping all of these progressive Washington, D.C. swamp creatures from having access to classified information, President Trump has taken another major step towards draining the swamp. Because let's face it, the fewer untrustworthy insiders that have access to sensitive material, the safer this country becomes. As we've all seen time and time again, these people have shown that they will gladly weaponize classified intelligence when it suits their political needs. So what Trump did wasn't just bold, it was absolutely necessary. And you know what? Let's be real about something else here. This is exactly why we all voted for President Trump. We voted for him to finally come into Washington, D.C. and clean house, to drain the swamp, to end the era of untouchable, unelected Washington, D.C. bureaucrats playing God with our government institutions. This was never supposed to be a system where people like Hillary Clinton or Hunter Biden get to walk around with access to national security secrets while doing nothing but trashing the very country that gave them that access. That's not how this works, and that's why President Trump just put an end to it. And also, keep this in mind, this is just the beginning. President Trump is just getting started. This wave of security clearance revocations signals a much bigger effort that's underway to remove the influence of corrupt, partisan, power-hungry deep staters who've sabotaged our government for far too long. Finally, at long last, we can finally say that our national security isn't compromised by a bunch of bitter, deep state officials with political vendettas. And you know what? To be frank, if removing access to classified intelligence from a bunch of people who've done nothing but leak, lie, and destroy public trust makes them upset, well, you know what? That's just too bad. Here's the reality. There's absolutely zero reason for any of these people to have their security clearances other than so they can manipulate their access to sensitive information for their own personal gain. And so given that's the case, thank God they've all been kicked to the curb. And you know what? This sort of action is exactly why President Trump's approval ratings are so high right now, because he's actually delivering on putting an end to all of this Washington, D.C. deep state corruption. As I said earlier, just in the last 2 months, we've had numerous leakers from inside of the federal government intentionally leaking information to undermine President Trump's agenda. And so finally, all of these corrupt traitors are getting routed out and cut off from the source. Because, folks, as we like to say, it's time to put America first. Now, before we wrap up with today's video, I want to say real quick that I've actually gone ahead and made a community Facebook page where I'll be posting additional news and updates as it relates to all of this. So if you guys use Facebook, check out the pinned comment down below and give that page a follow. But everyone, that is going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video while you're down there. Please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton with my daily struggle against the YouTube algorithm. Thank you all very much for tuning in today, and of course, as always, stay safe.